Today we're doing a tour of sketchbook 17. Hello, if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. My name is Madden, I'm an artist, and like I said, today we're going to be doing a tour of sketchbook 17. Before we get too far into things, two quick asides. If you haven't already, please sign up with a local grassroots organization near you who can help you connect with the resistance, the current administration, and ICE, and all the other horrible things that are happening. They are the people who can give you actionable advice for what you can do locally in your area. Think globally, act locally. A good option is Indivisible, who have chapters all around the United States, and I will try and remember to link them below. If I forget, please remind me. And secondly, I want you to be paying attention to this video because I definitely want to hear what your favorite sketchbook page is, because I genuinely find that incredibly interesting, because it's always different from mine. With all that said, let's get into it. Alright, this is sketchbook 17. There are some unfortunate, I think it's construction noises happening. They're pretty quiet, so hopefully you guys can't hear them, but they are a little distracting. This is the first page. I filmed the process of this with you guys. I really like this one. I think the fish are very, very cute. This sketchbook was pretty rough, mostly lots of swatching and funny little sketches. So here I swatched all of my Isaro paints. I really, really like those paints, but I don't use them very often, unfortunately. These are the historical set from Winsor & Newton, and it's just various remakes or hues of historical colors that are no longer produced. So Erlen yellow hue, that's a pretty common one. Erlen just fades pretty weirdly, it turns brown. So most brands will produce a hue of Erlen. Fields orange, no idea what historical pigment that is actually, but I do think it's a very interesting orange. It's very, very pink, which is unusual, I think. Tyrian purple. I assume most people know about Tyrian purple at this point. Ultramarine ash. Also fairly self-explanatory. Viridian hue. Cinnabar green. Very interesting. Very, very intense green. Mineral gray. Not sure what mineral that's supposed to be. But, and Ostwald gray, which I love how intensely flat that is. I think it's very, very interesting. When did I start this? Wow. I started this in July of last year. So I had just gotten these for my birthday, I think. More swatches, color experimentation. I think this is just my normal palette. Yeah, and then these are my graphite paints, which I really, really like. I should use those more. And then this is just a bunch of swatches I was doing for a painting, and then I doodled on it, that sort of thing. And I taped it in because I thought it was kind of cool. Need Payne's Gray. My first watercolor set had Payne's Gray and Indigo Blue in it, and I really, really loved using them. And I don't have them anymore. I never replaced them when I upgraded my paints, so I need to do that. These are recreations of sketches from my previous, oh my god, like copies of sketches from my previous sketchbook, and I was like, I really want to do these. I want to work on these. I want to make these. I need to remember them. So I just copied them down really loosely. I only ever did anything with this one, but I did make a painting with it. Notes about things I wanted to do in painting and in the sketchbook. I don't think I really did any of it. A lot of graphite smudging happening here. More of the same. I was thinking about starfish, I think. Purple and orange, yeah. Thinking about starfish. I did a bunch of octopi here, clearly. And then I think I just went over them with leftover watercolors in my palette that were just around. So that's why they're kind of muted. I like this one. I think that's pretty. More ideas, sketching. I was thinking a lot about rose hips at the time, and grass, and Queen Anne's lace, and things like that. I have no idea what that is supposed to be. What on earth is that? It's clearly not just a scribble. What the fuck is that? I have no idea. Okay. I was trying to come up with like a medieval knight inspired outfit of some kind. I didn't really succeed. I hated this, and then I just made a knight. But I did like mark out colors I thought would work well, and materials, fabrics, and things like that. So, one note for this video, I'm using autofocus for the first time in a really long time. I haven't used it since like early days filming on my phone, and that made such a horrible effect when it would refocus that I just stopped using it for ages and ages. I'm trying it out now, so we'll see if I keep doing it, but it does seem less bad on the camera than on my phone. I painted a mural last year. It was a very, very big job, but these were like the initial concept sketches of like twilight and trees to fit it, because a big part of the challenge of that mural was that it was a very unusual shaped wall. It was, as you can see, lots of windows, so I needed to make a design that would work well with the wall and not try to fight it. So I went with trees. I painted strawberry trees, which are an ornamental fruit tree. They're very beautiful. Some animals, color concepts. I went with a purple and yellow sunsetty, twilighty sky in the background. I think it turned out very, very well. I really like this. I think this is very pretty. I think it would be cool to use this in a painting again. That fruit and the shadowy leaves. I like that quite a bit. And then because they're strawberry trees, I wanted to lean into it, maybe have a little inside joke with myself. So I also painted actual strawberries around the roots of the trees and like mushrooms and stuff. And I think they turned out really, really cute. I'll try and remember to insert some photos of the mural, but who knows if I will. Swatching more paints, and I'm not sure if this is just my regular palette. I think this might be my White Nights paints, which I have since gotten rid of. White Nights paints have some issues. There's also, they're a Russian company. But also they have some, just as a product, they have some issues. Some consistency issues, it seems like, from batch to batch. Some colors use different pigments batch to batch, it seems like. And so they behave differently, and they'll have different light fastness and color and whatnot. So, yeah. Not great. But that was my first, proper watercolor set. Idea about colors, creepy painting idea, fairy character of mine. He lives in a candy store, which is why he's wearing a candy wrapper. I think this turned out alright. This is Sharpies, and I think I did an okay job. These are pose studies, I think. Honestly, I can't tell what these are at all. I have no idea what's going on here. I think this was like a ceramic figurine I saw on Pinterest, and I thought it was kind of cool, so I sketched that. Creepy face that I was thinking about maybe making a painting of. I say face, it's basically just a silhouette, so creepy silhouette thing. More pose studies. I think most of these were statues, at least the detailed ones. I think these I think the really, really crappy ones are just from my head. But these center ones, I think, are all copied from statues and ceramics or something. More color swatches over here. I think these are also my Isero paints. Some concepts. I was thinking a lot about water. This is an idea I had that I really want to paint, and I just haven't done it. I don't know why. It wouldn't be a hard painting, but I love it, and I need to do it. I really, really like this one. I spent a lot of this sketchbook very, very art blocked. I think I spent the entire sketchbook pretty art blocked. So what you're gonna see is a lot of me just desperately trying to find ideas that I find inspiring, and it's an uphill, it was an uphill struggle. In fact, I wouldn't say I'm totally out of it yet. I do, like, it's like I like these ideas, but I'm just having trouble, feeling motivation to do any of them. This is an iteration of a pose we saw earlier, slightly better done. And again, I like this idea, but I don't know. I think maybe I'm just a little burnt out. These are the Caran d'Ache Neocolor Aquarelle. Aquarelle. These things. I got them. I tested them. Not super impressed. I've tried them on some different paper since, and that seems to work a little better. They seem to work slightly better when you use a water brush pen instead of a regular watercolor brush. Slightly better, but the colors are not super vibrant. Like, this yellow is great. This blue, pretty good. This orange is okay. But, like, the red, purple, this dark green, pretty on the saturation levels. And I'm not really... Like, I was surprised at first, and then I really wasn't. One, the Caran d'Ache stuff that comes in the red packaging, that's their student grade stuff. As far as I can remember, their fancy pencils and watercolors, like the Luminance pencils, do not come in red packaging. So this is a student grade product. Additionally, watercolors are so vibrant because they have so little binder, the thing that holds it together and makes it not just loose powder. Binder compared to pigment. Right? Pigment is the color, the binder is the thing that makes it stick to whatever you're doing. Watercolors have some of the lowest binder to pigment ratio of any art supply, except for, like, chalk pastels. And that's why they're so vibrant. And then these need a lot more binder to do what they do. So I really, really shouldn't be surprised with those two factors. But I was a little surprised because everybody likes them so much. And I can see the appeal, and they're kind of fun, but you're gonna see that it's I was working on a painting, testing out some colors, testing out various greens, to see which one I wanted to use, all that stuff. Sketching out some ideas. I had this idea of, like, painting a gallery wall. Like, painting the picture of a wall covered in paintings, but then people are, like, things are coming out of the paintings. Does that make sense? I don't know. I don't know if I'm ever going to do that, but I do think it's a cool idea. I read a couple of books like that as a kid. Things I was thinking about, again, trying to get out of art block. I drew an ugly fish. These are the Neocolor Aquarelles. Those need a better name, honestly. Sketching some stuff, another statue, someone else's photo of poppies. I really like that photo. That photo's cool. Doodling stuff with my fountain pen without reference, just a bunch of produce, and then I, like, filled in the space with words. A color palette I like. I think I got that color palette from some yarn I thrifted, actually. But I do like it. I think it's a cool color palette. I think it's interesting. Thinking about sewing. I was really art blocked and my brain just went to, like, hobby stuff instead. So I was thinking a lot about sewing. I was watching a Doodle Date video, and Adam from Doodle Date really likes dogs, so I was drawing a bunch of dogs from, like, memory. So we've got, like, a long-haired dachshund and a chihuahua, and whatever this is, that's very cute. I think that's very cute. I think it's really, really cute. And then Adam said something about a drawing making him look like he had flowers for a beard or something like that, so I drew that. Big fan of Doodle Date. They're a great channel. More sewing ideas. I was thinking a lot about buttons. I really like buttons. I do not like sewing buttonholes, but I like buttons. I watched a Gel Arts video, and she had something painted in these colors. It might have been a pansy, might not have been. Swatching colors. These make really pretty pastels. I don't remember what I don't remember what art supplies those are, or what paints they are. Thinking about this sort of shape, design, Hair, I don't know, I was drifting pretty hard at the time. Shopping list for art supplies, some doodles. I think these are pretty crappy. I think these are also pretty crappy. I like this a lot. I did this much later, I think. I think I came back and used this empty space to draw him. This is Zephyrus, new OC. This is the first drawing of him. I really like him. I think he's very cute. Not much else to say. I got a box of crayons. I swatched all of those. Crayons are very fun. More poses and doodles and things like that. Another thing of Zephyrus where I accidentally inverted his hair color, so the peach was the tiny stripe and the pink was the large chunk. It's supposed to be the other way around. I don't know how I messed that up, but I did. And this was done in Sharpie with some colored pencil. I was thinking about my Red Room miniature that I need to work on again, but I haven't. I was trying to think of how to make a light fixture that I want, but I honestly still don't know. Swatching more colors, experimenting with color mixing. This was another imagination landscape. I covered the page in leftover watercolors on my palette, no real plan to it, and then I came back much later and just kind of filled in shapes from my head and kind of inspired by what the watercolor had naturally done. Normally I do this with colored pencil, but this time I did it with crayons. And I actually really like it. Definitely inspired by Casey Golden. She did that Year of the Crayon a while back, and that was pretty cool. So definitely inspired by that pretty heavily, but I do quite like it. I like the texture. Vague ideas for an animation that I will probably never do, featuring Eros and Zephyrus. Color palettes. I was trying to come up with color palette ideas for making a few more of them, of my little pinup demon guys. I haven't yet, but I was trying to think of like, okay, what colors would complement it, what would fill out the cast, sort of, visually. So we've got some, like here's Eros and here's Zephyrus, right? And then we've got some other color palettes playing around. I haven't decided yet, though. Still don't really know. These are, again, these guys right here, and the base layer of this. And, yeah, they don't... Like, I was just kind of messing around, right? I'm sure I could do something better if I was really trying to accommodate every little bit of character that these art supplies have, but they're weird. They behave weird. This is also those on the bottommost layer. I didn't really like it, so I just ended up going over it a bunch with a million other art supplies. I started with these, and then I did rainbow pencil, and I didn't like that, and I did crayons, and probably a couple of other things. You can see I'm still making the mistake of, okay, I just can't remember what his hair looks like ever, apparently. Incapable. See, these are also the Aquarelle Neocolors, or this is also that. How close can I go? There we go. And yeah, I was able to do something competent, right? This was like a stump in the water, an old dock post or something. And yeah, I was able to do something nice. Like, I think this looks nice. But I don't know if it would have been maybe significantly easier with regular watercolors. Swatching a bunch of watercolors, getting this very granulating, oceany palette. I really like this. I do want to work with this sort of palette soon. This was going to be the base of another imagination landscape. I never ended up doing anything on it, but I do like it. I think it's really pretty. Little ideas for something. I had this idea to make watercolor painted earrings, which I could still do. I still think about. I've just been kind of busy. So, haven't done that. But I do like these ideas, actually. I think these are good. Thinking about shapes and things. And then this was just a little experiment. I made a little painting here, and then I was kind of experimenting with how to seal it. So I went over it with, like, some clear nail polish, and I do think that worked pretty well. It looks nice. But it did smell bad, so I don't know. I did this first on the bus, and I just used the rainbow pencil at first, and I sketched the seats across from me. And then I went over it with these guys, and then also some red ink that I have. And that's what all these colors are. It's just the Neo colors and that red ink. And that's the same ink I used here. I don't really know why. I think I was just thinking about how many books I own that I haven't read that I really need to read at some point. Again, trying to experiment with those. So I just copied an image off of Pinterest that I kind of liked the look of. It's fine, but and then I swatched them next to the closest color of watercolor I had, and yeah, I have some label stickers and I was just doodling on that, so I stuck that in there. Having ideas for paintings. I do think I want to do this one, but I'm not done iterating on it yet. I'm not quite happy with it. Playing around with stuff, colors. This is the ink again. I do really like it. More ideas. I was having trouble drawing that day. I really like this concept. The sketch is like creepy and not very good, but I like the concept a lot. I do want to do that. I think this one is cheesy. Ideas. I splotched a bunch of watercolors on this, and then I later came back and drew this planet and space cloud on it. And I like that. I think that's fun. Really art blocked here. So this was just a picture of Miss Piggy that I copied with just whatever I had in my pencil case, and then again, just with whatever was in my pencil case. This was somebody's, like, custom My Little Pony on Pinterest. I really should have written down who it was by, although I don't know if they were credited in the photo. That might be why I didn't write it down. But it was really cool. It was, like, covered in sequins and fake pearls and rhinestones and all kinds of stuff. They put in so much work. And they actually made it look really cool, which is saying something, because I don't actually like that generation of My Little Pony toys very much. I think they're kind of crappy looking. Someone recommended the book, The Ugly American to me, and the cover of that one had, like a man in a suit, right? With a background of these flowers. And I thought they looked really, really cool, so I copied those down. And I just used, like, a layer of watercolor, and then I went over it, I think, with crayon. I was really having a crayon moment. But yeah, I just copied it down because I liked the colors and the flowers, and I thought it was very dynamic. More cheeky poses. Again, lots of art block. Filled this page just drawing in pen. I really like how most of these turned out. Except for that one, which was genuinely scary, so I covered it up. That one doesn't get to exist. It was genuinely just freaky. But I like these. That bat is so cute. Oh my god. Look at his little face. I like this page a lot. I did this first, and then I left it blank for a really long time. I love this, and I need to paint it because it is gorgeous. I love this so much. I really, really, really need to make it into an actual painting. I think I'm actually, like, a little intimidated to make this one. Also got this one, which I do like. I also want to make this one. Different design in the background, and I can't really describe how the concept is different from this, but it is enough to remind me of what I want to do. Really iffy sketch, doesn't really matter. swatching colors. Again, more of the Neocolor things. Lots of notes to self about like learning materials, I think, and different studies I want to do for improving. Swatching watercolors. Again, this. I eventually came back and did this pen on it and added these little faces in the waves, and I kind of like that. It wasn't really what I thought it was going to do when I did this, but I do like it. I think it's a cool concept. Maybe I'll come back to that. Swatching all of my super granulation colors that I own. Maybe not all of them. This might not be all of them. I don't know. Anyway, and then like picking the ones that I'm feeling like working with right now. So basically I just don't want to work with desert yellow or desert brown at the moment. I love all the other ones, and I do like these a lot, but they're just not what I'm feeling right now. I experimented with painting some water with them, because they were already like all hydrated and everything. A tree branch. I really like this, actually. And this does use desert yellow. It looks really, really pretty. Just like, it emulates the lichen that grows around here really, really well. I do want to start using more texture in my watercolors. This page, I both actually quite like it, and also I'm like, objectively, I think this is ugly. But I like the colors and the textures and the concept. I just was having a bad art day. I hadn't been practicing much, so this face is weird, but I do see the vision, right? And I like that part. Some ideas for customizing and upcycling t-shirts. None of these are revolutionary. I did this. I found a stack of like vintage postcards, and one of them was actually a photo of a building here, and I really liked that photo. So I used it and copied it in watercolor, and I really, really like this. Oh, and then the other thing, I did this background way before I did that. I did the background with the super granulation, and then much later I came back when I found that postcard and I painted on top of it, and I do quite like that. This is our courthouse. I was at coffee shop hanging out for a while. I drew my coffee. I doodled with my rainbow pencil. I drew the jacket I wore that day. I never wear that jacket because it's too big, but I was wearing a hoodie, and then I wore the jacket on top because I was freezing. That's me. It kind of makes me laugh, but I do quite like it. Composition styles, making notes from something. I think I saw it on the internet and that's why I did it, but it's actually also in a book I own. Just like using different shapes and things to guide the structure of your composition. And I do want to get better at using composition. I've done it before to great success, but I don't always prioritize it as much as I wish I did. Here I was kind of experimenting with my own thing, combining shapes, trying to think about that. I drew this in Sharpie. I think this is kind of when I started getting into Sharpies again. This is the 3rd generation Minty. I forgot her socks. She wears socks in this movie. Like stripy pink and white Christmas socks. And I forgot them. So I made that note. But I think this turned out pretty good, actually. I was replaying I Spy Spooky Mansion, and I tried to map it out as if it made sense, because the actual layout does not make sense, because I went down a rabbit hole for a few days, and I found out basically everything about like the model of house kit that was used to build the I Spy Spooky Mansion house that you see in the book and in the video game from the outside. I found out so much more than I thought I would. So I know the exact model of miniature house that was used. I was just like kind of trying to figure out how you could make it work, and I now have a daydream of someday, when I have enough space, making the I Spy Spooky Mansion house in miniature for real, because none of the rooms in that game are actually built in the miniature house. They're separate sets. Anyway, I'm going to stop nerding out about the I Spy games. Figure studies in Sharpie. I like to do my figure studies in Sharpie or marker instead of charcoal. I think it has the same effect for line of action studies where you're going really, really fast and you don't have time to shade. I think markers work really, really well, but they also don't get all over your hands. So, and the colors are fun. So, lots of this. This is a tag from a gift I bought for my boyfriend for Christmas, and I thought the tag was really cute, so I kept it. Stuck it in that kind of empty space. But yeah, more figure studies. More figure studies. This was all from one session. I like this page. I really like how it kind of dips in the middle. That's really cool, actually. And I like how I kind of layered them. I don't normally do that, but I did it this time. Good job, me. Yeah, normally I do it like this, where they're all separate. More of that. More color swatching, more playing with palettes, coming up with palette ideas. I like that a lot. I really like that. Those two colors are great together. Yeah, just playing around. Another idea, mediocre execution, but I do really like this gray in the background that I mixed up. And I made notes about the mix. Like, I don't normally make notes about mixes, I just try to remember. But I made notes about all the colors included in this, because this is gorgeous. I love this. And I also like his tail, that's very pretty. Apologies if you can hear the airplane, but it's taken me so long to film this video, because loud things keep happening, so. Anyway, lots of ultramarine mixes. I really wish I had made notes on these, because these are gorgeous. I'm going to try and hold that up so you can see a little bit better. Yeah, look at that texture. And these colors together are just so good. Like that. I did make a note of that one, but all the other ones, I did not. Unfortunately, that looks so good. Yeah, that's, okay, this is the ultramarine and the Fields Orange, I think. A difference I've noticed between mixing your own highly granulating mixes versus the Schminke highly granulating mixes is that when you mix them yourself and you try to apply them to get an even saturation, right? You're not like dropping in water a lot. The mixes you make yourself tend to be really, or at least the ones I make, tend to end up much smoother with finer granulation, whereas the Schminke ones that are pre-mixed are a little more chaotic while still being able to be applied somewhat thickly as a watercolor. They just, I don't know. Here we are. I definitely added some water to these, right? But these are really chaotic. There's like very intense separation. Whereas this and this, which I mixed myself, yeah, there's separation and there's contrast, but it's definitely not as sharp, which is, I think, why I appreciate having them in addition to knowing how to mix my own. I love this mix so much, though. That is glowing. It's so fucking pretty. I really hope the camera is going to pick that up really well for you guys, because that's so pretty. a doodle page. I did this on Christmas, so I got the Crayola multicolor colored pencils, and I'm just obsessed with multicolor colored pencils. I love them. So I got those for Christmas, and I swatched them all out. They're very weird color combinations, so if you don't have the Koh-i-Noor pencils, I wouldn't necessarily recommend these. But if you do have the Koh-i-Noor pencils, I think these are a fun addition. You need to press way harder with these than the Koh-i-Noor ones. Not way harder, a little harder. And you already need to press pretty hard with those, so fair warning. But I drew this tree with them, and I like that. I think it's fun. Just some doodles, layering markers and whatnot. Here I swatched all of the markers in my pencil case, and I realized that I don't have a yellow, so I made a note. No, I didn't make a note. I thought I made a note. I made a mental note that I really need a yellow marker, because markers are just more convenient. But these are mostly just extra Sharpies where I have like lots of duplicates of the colors, so I carry them around. I was looking at like these mermaid tables, these vintage mermaid tables, and I was like, ooh, I want a merman table. So I sketched the idea of that. I draw My Little Ponies sometimes. You've seen this already in the sketchbook, and I was trying to figure out how to do the water ponies, and I don't like any of these designs. This is from Shimmerlocks. They are a place to buy doll hair to replace hair in dolls or ponies. I have some that are dealing with some hair rot, so I needed to replace it, so I finally got that. And the hair was really nice, and the sticker was very cute, so I kept it. This is Zephyrus. This is Zephyrus. I don't think this is a particularly good sketch of him, but I do like it in its own way. I think it's kind of fun. Concepts for the last page. I ended up changing it last minute to make it Valentine's themed, so I might try this again later, maybe with watercolors though, not Sharpies, because they smell so bad. Color swatching for a painting I did of a very evil seagull. Note to self. I didn't do anything on this page because I knew it would bleed rather a lot. And this, the last page of the sketchbook. I really like this. I really like how it turned out, especially considering I changed it last minute. There are a couple things I would have done differently. I would have used a different pen for outlining, because it had been so long since I used this really tiny pen that I was just very rusty, and it doesn't have the best control, even though it does make fantastically skinny lines. Like, they're so tiny, but I find it a little hard to control. I wish I had tested the white gel pen for covering up mistakes on different pieces of paper, because it doesn't behave how I wish it did. It reactivates and gets all over the Sharpie and gunks it up, and it doesn't look that great. And I wish I had done the hair differently, because this is not typically how I draw hair. This is not how I like to draw hair. I don't really know why I drew his hair like this, but I did. And again, apparently I just have no idea which way around the hair colors go. No idea. I give up. It's just roll of the dice. But I got the end page, which is my favorite, and I quite like it, especially for how last minute most of the decisions were. And that's it. That's the whole sketchbook. I really hope you enjoyed this tour of Sketchbook 17. Forgive the outfit and lighting change. It's been a while since I finished filming that part. I'd also like to apologize for how long it took me to get this video out. It's been a combination of schedule and procrastination working together to not make this happen. Thankfully, I'm working on it now. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and a comment in the comment section below. This helped me out a lot, and if you want to see more, subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Bye.